Well, welcome back to Protecting Every Future's Kitchen Table. There's a lot in the news these days about inflation and changes in workplace culture and what all this means for our financial security, including our retirement security, a really important topic for all ages, those starting in the workplace and those thinking about retiring. And as always, Protecting Every Future is a community initiative of ACLI, and we try to bring experts to you that can really share their views and give you the latest on what's happening. And today is no different. We have two great experts. The first is Congresswoman Linda Sanchez from California. She's a member of the Ways and Means Committee, and if you're not a congressional insider, you may not know that that's where there's a whole lot of power. So it's a big deal to be on the Ways and Means Committee, because the ways and the means, revenue, how policy that is important to people's financial security, that's what she is an expert in and focuses on. And we are also joined by Lori Lucas, who is president and CEO of the Employee Benefit Research Institute. And among other topics, she is going to share with you the latest in their this year's nationwide retirement confidence survey, which I think will be very insightful as we hear what people like us are thinking and saying out there about retirement security. So without further ado, let's get to our panelists. So I'll pose this first question to both of you. From the pandemic to politics, the last 2 years have really changed America's work culture, approaches to how we work, remotely, in the office, in person, how long people stay in their jobs. How do you think these changes have impacted the level of confidence that most people have for their retirement savings? Congresswoman Sanchez, I'll start with you.
Well, there's no doubt that the last 2 years have probably been the toughest period for most workers to live through, and especially frontline workers more so than the rest of us. And a huge shout out to frontline workers because they made tremendous sacrifices over the last 2 years. And I think kind of that disruption of, the normal workplace has really forced us to kind of evaluate our lives in ways that maybe we hadn't imagined before. So, you hear stories about, the Great Resignation, you hear stories about people who finally had the time to start their own business. And you hear about workers finally having the opportunity and the leverage to demand, fair treatment and better wages. And so, as people sort of think ahead in terms of coming out of the pandemic to, what their work life or their work situation looks like, we need to make sure that as they're making, big life decisions about their futures, that they're setting themselves up for a comfortable retirement. And that's not always the first thing that people think about when there are all these major changes to their workplace.
So Lori, that's a good entry point for you to join the conversation. What income sources are people thinking about? What are they talking to families and coworkers about, how they can leverage this transition from the workplace into retirement?
Well, Social Security remains a key source of retirement income. It's been a key source for current retirees, and workers say that it's, a primary source for them. 86% of workers said it would be either a major or a minor source of income. But more and more workers are also saying that they're going to be relying on workplace retirement savings and also working for pay, and an increasing number of workers relative to the current retirees. Now, two things to think about with respect to that. Many people who think they will end up working for pay in retirement don't do that. I mean, it's not that common to have people work for pay in retirement. So that might not be a source of income people can really rely on as much as they think they can. And also workplace retirement savings plan, kind of getting back to the question of the impact of, the COVID-19, retirement confidence, according to our retirement confidence survey, which was fielded in January of this year, was at almost an all-time high. And it's primarily because of, as you can imagine, the stock market, people saying that they had good investments. Well, as we know, things have somewhat turned around since then. And so people that thought perhaps they might have more money in retirement than they have today. Maybe, you know, that might be something that we see a change in terms of retirement confidence, given where the market has gone since January of 2022.